Hey everybody, I'm Cinnamon Cooney, your Art Sherpa, and this is day 30 of Acrylic April 2019. 30 short days ago, we all met up, told our family and friends that we were going to be painting every single day, that we were going to make creativity something that had a priority in our life, and we were going to do our best to try to get together and paint an image. Maybe it was a prompt, maybe it was one of my guided tutorials, maybe it was somebody else's stuff or an original idea in acrylic every day, because daily painting, I'm going to get misty, changes who we are. And that was a crazy idea. I'm sure many people at the beginning of it thought, I don't know what this means. And now you all know what it means. You can go forward and say, I've done a daily painting and I know what that creates in artists. And so here we are on our last day, and I'm just feeling a little nostalgic about the whole journey. On the mic is my husband, John.
Hey guys.
He has helped us through every step of this journey, getting homework and extra information in, making sure that we had a really wonderful webpage and branding and all kinds of things so that your experience could be even better, and keeping me going through what has been a very long process. Because like you, I did all 30 of these paintings. So I went through many of the same things that you did. And here we are on our last day to paint our pink door. And I'm really excited about it. We just did the gridding video live. So if you'd like to know how to use the gridding method to get an image transferred on a canvas, you can. But of course, if you check the description down below, you're going to find a link to this webpage. And on the webpage will be traceables, references, and all the extra information that you need to know to complete this project, including the color exchanges. Just in case you don't have a color that I have, there's probably a color in that list that will exchange very well for it. So you don't have to worry that, your Nathal Red's going to ruin the whole thing, because it won't. So I'm kind of ready to do this. Like I am and I am not ready, if that makes sense. I don't know where you at, Don.
No, I'm ready.
Kind of like ready and not ready, because I know at the last brushstroke, I think I'm going to be balling. At the last brushstroke, it'll be over, and then I got to wait till 2020 to do this again. So, my heart.
This is fun.
All right, so we're going to jump on in.
All right.
So here we have our beautifully gridded surface. And it's got our major objects on it so that we can paint those together easily. I'm going to use today my number 8 Cambridge to start. This is a nice little bright. It's a hardy little bright. It just takes a beating. We can be all scumbly with it, and we've loved them. I only used 3 brushes for this entire event. And that was just to show you that you could have less and do more, especially if you were on a budget. We're going to start this out by talking about our art colors. I have out burnt sienna, primary blue, phthalo green, Mars black, titanium white, had yellow medium hue, vermilion, and deep magenta. So that's all I'm going to be using to complete this project. I'm going to take my nice little Cambridge. I'm going to get it just the toe of it. That means just the edgy edges of your bristles a little bit wet. I'm going to get my nice deep magenta on here and mix some wonderful white into it. You see it's making a nice lighter pink, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to come over my background with my lighter pink, and I'm going to loosely dry brush this color, and that's going to really kind of create an exciting texture for our stucco wall. Oh, we're all here together. It's so exciting.
Oh, it is. Everyone's really enjoying this. I'm just sharing some links in chat for the tracing that we just did.
Yes. Because we just did the grid, so you guys could have that. We were traveling and had a little bit of a road adventure that delayed our trip.
We did. We'll make sure we can post some pictures up there.
Yeah. Basically, a 16-foot piece of rebar impaled our exhaust pipe.
It was crazy.
It was like not even visible on the road. It was wild.
It was like this road snake.
It was a road snake.
It just reached up and bit our tailpipe.
Now I'm going to come with a slightly darker magenta under the window. And I just did that by adding a little more magenta. And you can change up the value, like how much magenta is going into this as you go up. You can see, I like how this like brushiness and then the wonderful color coming through is kind of creating a luminosity.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow. This is fun. Is everyone having a good time?
Oh, very much so.
It has been something, has it not, folks? Oh my gosh, I can't believe we did 30 days.
I can't tell you how much love is being shared for all that you've done this month. So, a lot of people are commenting about how they've created a practice, a daily practice, and their loved ones have come around them and been supportive of the creation of those daily practice, and how that's important. And, not just in their artistic journey, but their own emotional journey. So I
Yeah,
think a lot of people are conveying and relating that here in chat. So
I'm
uh,
so glad because it's sometimes it's hard to say that your time with your imagination is valuable and important, and it's quite an empowering act to take that leap and tell people around you, no, this is happening. I'm just continuing this dry brushing all around the wall. You can see that sometimes I will go lighter, and then like I was a little lighter here, and then maybe a little darker under the window, just a little bit. These are like little hair perception differences, but they create a lot of personality in the wall. All in all, just another break in the wall. All right. Well, this wall has no breaks, so. Not really accurate, but you get the basic gist. I'm just coming underneath here, having a nice little time. I really do enjoy that. Fun, good times. Now, our ground is sort of interesting because it's a gray, but it's a gray that's a little bit warm. So I'm going to take a little of my cad yellow and a little of my burnt sienna, mix those together, and then get a little black. And that's going to create this sort of warm gray. You grab your white, the gray will start to pop up, and we're going to come down here and kind of brush, much like we did with the wall. Right, little bits here. These are the darker bits. I definitely want to have a bit under that. But I also want to change it up with very light bits because this is a very patinaed walkway. It has age to it and character. It's seen a little weather, as they sometimes do, right?
mm-hmm.
I just added a little water to improve the flow of my paint so that along my edge where my wall and my ground meet, it can be a little bit sharper. But again, you're going to notice this is very dry brushy, right? Super dry brushy.
No, could I ask a quick question here?
You can ask as many quick questions as you like. It's our last day.
If you were an adventurous Sherpette,
Oh, may they all be adventurous Sherpas.
and
Yes.
you had some stucco medium,
Would this be a wonderful project to use
could
for
you get
it?
stucco with it?
Yes. Just remember to let the stucco dry thoroughly before you apply the next coat of paint. But yeah, it's fantastic.
So when you put stucco in your paint as a medium, you need to make sure that's thoroughly dry before you do any more layers.
Yeah, because it can be dry on the surface and then very wet in the middle, and that can impact your result. I'm going to keep pulling more white into this, and then now I'm going to get a little yellow just to kind of imply some sunlight there.
Oh,
Look at that.
Teresa's
Teresa.
worried. She said, "Are you saying there's no classes till 2020?"
No, there's classes. There's just no more Acrylic April.
Well, that okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Good. I was a little concerned. I was like, wait.
I'm gonna be in Minnesota this weekend for Pinners, the convention. You can come by and see me if you want to paint with me. I'm gonna be in Minnesota, and then so I won't have any classes this weekend, but immediately after we'll be back to our same bat time, same bat channel stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, just dry brushing that. So now we would miss you guys too much. We're definitely not ending the YouTube channel in any way.
We have so many more months of fun planned.
So many more months of fun planned.
The puns have been thick.
Have they been thick?
They've been heavy.
I'm very glad. We need thick puns.
Well, no, on our monthly ideas, we can't share them because they're good. We got secrets now.
We got secrets for me?
Well, no, you and me.
Oh.
On the trip, we came up with all those good names for all the months that we were going to do.
Oh, that's right. No,
we can't tell them yet.
We can't tell any of them yet.
But they're good.
I mixed a little black and white just to make a dark gray, and that's going to be this little part of the window that is in shadow a bit. And I may even start talking about the little bit of shadow that's right here. shadows on your windows are really important because they help give them a little bit of form. Now I'm going to do something though unexpected that you guys would not like think was coming. I'm going to get right into my blue because the shutters are cute and all, but I'm not really that into it. So I'm going to come here with this blue and I'm going to make a glass window. I did not want like a levelor on this window. I wanted more of an old world looking window. So you can see I've got the black and that dark gray in there, and I've added some blue. And I'm coming in and this is creating sort of a base. And then to make it feel like, it's a window, I'm going to get some white and some just primary blue. I'm going to come across here, leaving that shadow that I have on the side, and begin talking about the reflections on the glass. How you do. Now there'll be one more pop after this to really bring it up, but I just personally prefer either an open window into a room or glass to get something done. Now I'm going to go ahead and take a little bit of my white and I'll smidge it with a bit of yellow. Just a bit. I don't want anything that's obviously yellow. I wouldn't want like a duck, a baby duck. And you go, but Sherpa, you love those duck tours. Nope. Only the tour, not the color right now for this painting. Like 3 people got that joke. Sorry. Sometimes my jokes are so inside, they're just like not even good. So I'm just coming here and very carefully giving myself that nice little white kind of washed hopping to the window. And a very similar one down here. So it's probably going to get some shadow going as well as we work it, as you do, right? Fun stuff. So nice little base. Little loose, happy painting. I'm going to go back into the vermilion and the magenta mixture. And it's going to make a very, very bright pink. Like very bright. I'm going to go ahead and come here and just bring that down. So those shutters really pop against that background. Just coming along there. They're so bright. Isn't that kind of fun when you saw that picture, like how bright this all was?
When you first put it on, that fire engine red, I was like, are we painting Ferraris today? That was like, kapow. But now, now that I see the pink over it, I see that you needed to have that super red to be able to show through to make that kind of.
We really did.
Yeah, that's how you created those contrasty, shadowy things.
And
Like
it's going
all
to
the
be the
stucco.
shadows in this and then these pops of colors that really will pull this whole piece together. And it's going to make it kind of fresh and fun. Now I'm rinsing out my brush quite a lot, like you do. And I'm going to grab a fresh one because it's a little bit soaked. Sometimes your brushes will get like soppy. And I'm going to make a little more of my pink and white. And I'm going to come here and just make sure that I don't know, a little layer. And you can kind of see how I'm very scumbly, like you can be, around some of the stuff so that it's got a good little edge and maybe a little more personality even. That next little layer, isn't that nice? A little fresh, happy, fun color. And that's a good way, like if you come in, if your shutters got off square or you weren't liking something about it, it's a good way to get them back on. The next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to take a little bit of my brown and my black together. And I may turn my surface to the side so I'm stroking to an easier side. And I'm going to just come down here and make this window box. So first I'm just stroking down this direction. We're going to have so many plants. It's going to be really fun. And then maybe I'll turn it this way. I'm working on my body posture.
Vin would like me to pass along a message.
Hi, Vin.
It says, please could you tell Cinnamon that she's done more for my art in 30 days than all the art courses I've ever been in on.
Thank you. Thank you. And I'm so glad that's been your result. I'm so glad that you got that experience.
Now, there's a little mea culpa kind of going on in here saying, look, maybe I missed a day or two, but spiritually, I have been on this journey with you.
You're going to miss a day or two. Carol Marine, the creator of dailypainters.com, misses a day or two.
And that's okay?
It's okay. It's going to happen. You're going to have a life. Unless you're doing some weird performance piece where you've told your collectors, like, I'm painting 365 and here's every day, right? You're going to have a big show at the end of the year. You really don't have to paint every single day or fail. It's about getting that practice. And then when you're painting most days, like 80% of them, 90% of them, you're going to see that growth. You're going to start to develop that style. You're going to start to break into this. In fact, Stephanie Bergeron and I were talking about, like, kind of being in shape, and like maybe it needs to be 90 and 120, 365 for us to get the same effect anymore. Like we built up a resistance.
I'm aware there are so many people echoing that they have really, that this 30 days has been really good. I mean, like, so good for them, better than classes they've taken. And so Cinnamon doesn't get a chance to see the chat. So
I really don't. So I do appreciate that. I do. I'm going to take now a little bit of my white, right? Interestingly enough, I'm going to go into my green and my blue. You know how I like to make my turquoise. See how bright that is? Mm-hmm. And I like to take that bright, bright color, because we want a very, very bright color. Turquoise is going to pop from this background so big. So big. You can see I'm just kind of trying to create this little random space, leaving the shadows that we would have. Can you almost see that window now?
Yeah.
A little more white. In here, look. And the glass comes forward. You paint a few windows, you get a sense of what they need to seem like what they are. Ooh, that almost looks like the letter E. I'm going to take the letter E away. But now I have a beautiful little window. And that little pop of turquoise will make a big impact. I'm going to switch to the number 4 round I've been using this whole painting event. I'm going to get it a little bit wet. I'm going to grab a little of my blue and my black together. You know how I like my blue and my black shadows. I'm dipping my brush in water and improving the flow. And I'm going to do a couple of things. I'm going to come here on the top of this and bring that down just a little bit. And then on this little shutter and bring it down. I don't want too much. And then right here on this edge, I'm going to start to cast a shadow that comes off the shutter. We're going to want to bring this down a bit. Right, 'cause we're casting a shadow there. Let's come across here with this shadow. Look, we're brushing this across. That's what we're doing, is we're finding these little cast shadows into our space that we're working with. Always helpful. Maybe a little bit along here at the joint. You can also imply a little bit of a handle here. Isn't that fun? I like implying little bits of a handle. So it could be a whole big event, right? I'm going to bring a little shadow down under this shutter. And just a little there. Can't do too much because most of it would be cast all on the same side.
There's a little
inside lip.
Little sadness happening in chat.
Oh, it is sad. I'm feeling it. I'm like doing my due diligence and painting my lesson, but I'm like, man, I'm gonna miss everybody so much.
One of the things I was gonna say is, we go live 3 times a week.
I know, but it's like we did this thing and it was like different than all the things that we did. And now it's like when my season comes to an end on a show, like I don't know what I'm gonna do when Game of Thrones is over. I'm gonna just cry and crawl under a blanket. I'm making little segmented lines in the wood where that would be.
I'm with you guys. I do feel this is coming to a close. This has definitely been a journey for me too.
It has been a little more blue and black. And now I get to do my fun part. Even though I haven't painted my plants,
Mm.
I think one of the funnest things about this piece,
Plant shadows.
plant shadows, I'm going to go real dark under here. But sometimes in painting, it's the cast shadow that's really entertaining. So I'm just taking this little detail brush and making these little shadows that will be there. They'll make a lot more sense when there's plants. So much more sense when there's plants. And this will be wonderful. This can come down all the way down here, as it does.
Jerry said it felt like band camp, and I love band camp.
Yay, Jerry. It
I
did feel a little like band
I
camp,
agree.
right?
Yeah.
I'm just bringing this here and making sure we've got we've got our little urn kind of rendered in, and his little shadows are here on the ground. Isn't that cool? You want to make those a little open so lots of dappled light comes through. Band camp. I love that. So true. Make sure you go under the urn as well. You want things to be anchored in your world. And the best way to anchor them is shadows. Shadows really help us see the space that something is taking up. So this has his little stuff, and then there'll be a lot of fun little shadow right here, right?
Mm-hmm.
All good. And that plant overhang. And we'll think, oh, that's so pretty. And isn't it weird how, like, when you see the shadow and there's no plants, but you feel like you know there's plants there because the shadow's there, you're like, there's invisible plants blocking light. As you might think. I'm just wiggling my little brush up and down to bring that little shadow in further. Just talk a little more. I think that's the best bit is little shadow bits. They're so fun. Little pink houses, little shadow bits. They happen. And you can even kind of come and shadow your wood a bit, which will help press it back. And then if you come back with some very bright highlights in the shadows, then it will really look like the wood has dappled light coming onto it as well, which is pretty fun. And I think at this point, you guys are starting to notice things like this that happen. You're like, oh yeah, I get that. I get that that's what's going on. What's funny?
The mother of brushes.
Oh, thank you so much. I'm going to give myself some dappled light with that, mother of brushes. I love it.
There's just a bunch of Game of Thrones jokes in here that we're
Good.
just...
We need them, man, because we can't handle like what it's going to look like when we're not here anymore. I might add a little red to that to kind of make it more of an orange for the dappled light on the yellow. But I do want it in here. I'm going to go ahead and just make sure that there's a couple spots in the wood that have a little light shining through. It's nice when it happens, and when the plants are on there, we'll be like, oh, lovely. I'm going to take a little of my green, and interestingly enough, my black. I'm going to grab some yellow into that too, because we're doing some masonry. And when you're doing stone, it's really wonderful if you can show that it's very weathered. I like to start with that. I'm still on my number 4. And I'm getting my darkest value in, and then I'll be lighting it up as I go. And letting a little of my red even kind of pop through, which is sort of interesting. A little base here. Now, as I go, I can get a little more green and white. And we can start to curve in the lid around. Fun stuff. Curving it. Doing those contour strokes, using the stroke to imply shape, form, and line. There. And right here. A lot more of that white. Maybe grab some of the yellow, but we're still working quite a green right in front here. See, I'm highlighting it. I'm going to really, really highlight it, as you do, right here. And maybe a little bit more right there. Kind of that. Just a little thought about it on this little urn, right? Back into our shadow. Make sure that it's got what it needs to be in its little shadow space. How's our window and door looking? These are easier to do than you normally might think that they would be. Now, to do my foliage, I'll go ahead and maybe keep into my number 4. And I'm using my phthalo green and my burnt sienna to make a very dark value. I'm going to begin to put some deep leaves on here that you might have. We're going to come back with some very bright green, but it's nice to have that deep green to help the bright green pop, 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 as Ruby Rod would say. And you can see what I'm doing is I'm being very random because, well, nature's pretty random, isn't it? That's a little moment. I really loved the pot that's on the windowsill, which is almost essentially the phthalo green and our yellow. I'll go ahead and put that right here. Draw in a little pot. It's a longer line at the top, shorter line at the bottom, and then you just intersect 2 lines into it. If I go a little too far down into my windowsill, I can always come back with my pure white. Pop up my windowsill. Ha ha ha! Pop up the windowsill. That nice contrast right there. Still loose, still expressive, still painterly, still an impression of a moment. But we're giving it a little pop. I definitely think our planter needs to be way more into that yellow green. And I may even grab some of my white to make sure that it is. And we'll go ahead and grab some of it here.
We had some of our Arts in the Park folks in
Hi,
chat.
Arts in the Park. Hi to Hot Springs, Arkansas. I love being there. Thank you for having me.
We rocked, we spun, we painted, and we ducked.
We did the things. And it was just a lot of fun, and we so appreciate the hospitality. So I'll let that have a little bit of a dry, and I'll go back into my green and brown again. It was just really wonderful to meet everybody. And I'm going to just make a nice basis, especially here close to the edge of the pot and coming down on this side of a very dark green and brown. As I come up, I'll have less because it's going to be more in the light. And, you know, this would only be where the plant was quite thick and creating sort of its own shadow space down there. Fun stuff. Rinsing out. We could give ourselves some more of it up there. I'm rinsing out just because it's drying on my brush. I'm trying to improve the flow. These brush strokes I might make a little bit thicker. And that's because this is a geranium. And so therefore you'd want to change up how you did the leaves. So now we got like kind of this very dark foliage, which is super fun. I'm going to change my water. I'm going too fast. It's almost over.
Oh no.
And change my water. I'm going to go ahead and get into my yellow and my green. Getting some of these beautiful bright greens. They're just so chipper. And let's put some of them here and there on our pot. And you can see how the dark green helps the bright green show. And the bright green is so awesome against the pink, isn't it?
It is.
Just a little bit here and there. These little dabs of color. Oh, this is really pretty. I mean, I knew it would be. just nice when things come out where you're like, oh, that's just a nice light way to finish it. But by the end of 30 days, right, this type of painting becomes just much more accessible, much more doable. You can always come and get a little more of your phthalo in there and just keep, you see how you can pop that green down here and more of the shadow?
Mary had a question.
Hi, Mary.
Are all those terms interchangeable? Expressive, painterly, loose?
Just yeah, curious. They have slightly different tweaks, but they are definitely all part of that same family. So if you're being expressive, right, you're using your paint and your marks to show an impression, an emotional impression of a moment. If you're being loose, you're avoiding overly detailing in it, overly focusing on a detail. And if you're being painterly, you're showing the medium that you use. They're all within each other, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so these are a slightly darker green. They kind of go with the lighter green that one might have. You know, as we're coming through. We got to bring that over here because that's where that shadow comes from.
So many good Game of Thrones inspired stuff. I've been inspired.
Are you now?
I am.
That's awesome. It's really fun. Okay. So when I have that, I've got one more green I'm going to get into. And I'm going to get into my yellow, picking up a little bit of green, but I want to grab some white. You see how I'm doing? This is going to be so bright. And I'm going to hit a couple spots that are just very highlighted in the green before I ever put the white on there. Like right here. I'm just trying to pick up that light that's in that foliage and capture how the parts of the plant that are up close to the sun will be a little more popped and transparent. You don't want to miss out on those. No, you don't. You want to enjoy those. There we go. Now all the last bits are the funnest parts of painting. Seriously, they're so fun. So I'm going to take my vermilion. And I'm going to come here with just my wonderful vermilion. I'm going to get a smidge. Oh, gosh, just the smallest amount of my primary blue, and I mix that in, and it's going to just deepen it a bit. Now, our picture only gave us a couple of these little clusters of flowers, but in my planter, it will have more because I like them. And I'll let that dry for a second so I can put its highlights on there.
Wow, this is going so quick.
It is, isn't it?
It is. I'm
going to get back into my magenta and my red. I might even pull, without the green in it, I might get a little of my kind of yellow in there. I still want it to be pink, but I want it to just have a slightly different value than everything around it. There we go. So it's almost like a peach.
The big pink bang!
Well, because we're going to come back and it would disappear into the background, but for those little value solutions. And then we're going to have to come back with our little really white highlights. What's funny? The big pink bang? What?
No. Rita says, John, I hear you have the ear of the Sherpa throne. There's just been too many good Game of Thrones jokes.
Well, we need them, don't we? How much more time do we even have with Game of Thrones?
It's all it's just fun.
You know, I'm just like hearing the "Don't you forget about me," just right in my head right now.
Well.
So this dark pink that's kind of like showing over our background lately, that's really going to be the showcase for what we're going to do with our white when we come through and rinse out really well. Now I'm going to get a little of my white here You can get a smidge of that peach that you made, so it's sort of in there. I'm going to loosely mix it, as you do. And I'm going to just touch an impasto, maybe even a little more delicate than that. There we go. I think I just want it to be tapped like that. Bit of our little white on those. And I'm looking at that and I'm thinking, what will help that even pop out more? Right? Get a little clean yellow. Work that into your white. That yellow will help pull it forward. Just trying to get it on the tip of my brush. Oh yeah, I like that better. So sometimes, you know, we're just always like, what will help us get our result better? All right, here we go.
I love the flowers. The little highlights just dappling on.
Made me super happy, the little white parts of them. Ah, they're just so good. And our last little touch, oh, I know. We have to make a little highlight there. Let's come and get just our pure vermilion. Just over that dark. And then you can even get a little yellow into it. Because sometimes if you lighten with yellow over white, it will help you get a highlight without going pink. And so you can still have that. Uh-oh, guys, it's signature time. Signature time. I'm going to grab some of my blue over here. I'm going to come down in the corner. 2020. I hope many of you will come back for Acrylic April in 2020. We're going to do this again starting April 1st. We won't be kidding. It's really happening. And I think we're going to be even more ready for it.
Yeah.
We're going to have more of the stuff that we hope for. We're going to be able to do more. I'm going to turn around.
Yeah.
Beautiful painting.
No.
Oh! Who doesn't love a window and a planner? And you just do these. These are things you could just do 30 days of windows and doors and just really love every minute of it, right?
Nobody wants to go.
No, I don't blame you.
They've got a bunch of funny stuff that you've just missed. You're gonna have to come back and read chat.
I'm gonna read chat. I am gonna read chat. I'm gonna get back into my messages. I know I've been a little out of pocket for a few days.
But before I'm gonna say as stunt hand to the Sherpa, I'd like to introduce you, Cinnamon Cooney of House Sherpa, first of her name, our big art quester, queen of the color wheel and the split palette painters, Khaleesi of the pigment forest, breaker of bad habits and mother of brushes, our teacher, the Art Sherpa.
Oh, somebody get me a dragon. That was really nice. Thank you. Oh, I'm gonna write that down and make a little a picture out of it. Put it up on the wall.
Thank you for doing this, Cinnamon. I've enjoyed it.
Thank you. Thank you for helping us do it. It's not easy to do a daily painting. It's very few people that get to do it because it's so daunting to take on. But now so many more people are in the world and they've done it and they understand their medium better and they understand themselves as artists. And I know many of you have had huge emotional breakthroughs, art breakthroughs, skill breakthroughs, gotten to know yourself better as a creative, gotten to understand who you are and what your needs are. And daily painting, that's really the gift of it. 2020 is going to be amazing. And be good to yourself. Oh. Be good to each other. And we want to see you at the easel really soon. Bye-bye.